Hi everybody and welcome to a new video of Piano Tips. Today's tip is for people wanting to approach a competition, a full planning on choices, repertoire and schedule of practice. Before starting, if you want, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to receive updates on my upcoming videos. And check out as well my social pages. And now let's start the full plan. A competition is always an event full of stress, because in that moment we are showcasing all the work done in the previous months. And we are facing the judgment from a jury, often of people we know by fame. The time at the competition will be almost always a difficult one, depending on many situations, and we want to avoid at our very best the sensation of feeling not prepared for it. In fact, in those moments we have to show off all our skills, and to do so we should not have fear of anything, from our playing to public to circumstances different from our piano room. The best pianists always arrive at the competition at their own best, even if they face many problems along the way. They always do a planning of one or more competitions far in advance in order to feel as comfortable as possible on stage. The first thing we want to do is decide which competitions we want to apply for. There is a lot of choice out there, but here are some thoughts about it. First to consider is the age to apply for. If you are a beginner of competitions, I would suggest going for easy regional ones. Then, after some time, you can expand to nationals and finally to internationals. These competitions will already have some categories, so choose wisely which one you want to apply for. You can always decide to try an older age than yours, but make some clear decisions about it. In nationals, you will start seeing advanced performers, and in internationals, you will face anybody from around the world. Second thing to consider is the date of one competition or more. Usually you can find plenty of them in spring and autumn, but also the other seasons have some interesting ones. As a beginner, you will prepare for only one or two per year, but as you get professional, I suggest make a choice based also on dates. The best situation is when you can prepare for many competitions all at once by practicing for a few months and then making like 4 to 5 competitions in 1 month. In this way, you get higher chances to win prizes. Another thing to keep an eye on is which kind of jury is in the competition. I'm personally not worrying too much about it, but sometimes you should avoid the ones with debatable jurors, or at least inform yourself better about them. For jury-based research, I suggest checking the Alink Argerich Foundation website. Checking the prize pool is also extremely important, as it will be a reference of quality of the organization. Avoid those competitions giving you only a certificate unless really at the beginning of your career, and instead focus on the ones with at least 3 main prizes and especially concerts. In fact, money does not give you anything back later on. What you need the most is to show yourself in the classical music world, so having as many concerts as possible is a go-to. With performances, you will also get better in the future competitions and fear less of public. Last but not least thing to consider is repertoire. You want to always go to the competitions where you have or will have a strong repertoire, especially at the first round. If the competition is a small one, it will have only 1 or 2 maximum rounds. In these cases, there is not often a selection of pieces to play, so it will be easier. In bigger competitions, some repertoire will be the same, while others will have differences. I suggest planning your competition month, or kinda, with the ones with similar repertoire during the various rounds. Like for example, the same concerto for piano and orchestra, the same Beethoven sonata, etc. Choosing the right repertoire is a topic that needs to be explored more. For the points I'm going to say now though, it is valid the concept that playing something you fully love is always better than something you feel just okay with. After this clarification, these are my suggestions. The first round is what you want to have extremely strong and starting the practice of it early. First, because when you arrive at the competition, the jury will need to make a selection of people passing forward, so making a great impact since the beginning is a key. Second, because this is the only round you know for sure you're going to play. You could not pass to the second, so do your best to make it possible. For the first round, it is usually asked a specific repertoire. For youngers, it could be a polyphonic piece or a movement of a sonatina or a little etude. For professionals, it is almost always one etude or more, usually of Chopin, Liszt, Rachmaninoff, Debussy or Prokofiev, a Bach prelude and fugue, a first movement of a classic sonata, and some free choice. Of course, there are exceptions, but rarely. Try to plan, also together with your teacher, the best selection of pieces for this crucial round. Also, remember that in a competition you should showcase the best of you and not a fake. So, for example, if you are not a virtuoso, look for something you are really special at and avoid choosing risky repertoire. You want to choose repertoire you can use in many competitions and not only for one. Of course, there are evident exceptions, like the Chopin of Warsaw, but a few things remain the same. For advanced players, find one or two Beethoven sonatas and stick to them. The same should happen for a big romantic piece, a concerto of the classic era and a romantic one, and so on. To decide your future repertoire, check many competitions you would like to apply to and check the similarities. Use this information to save time for the future. In the world of competitions, there are some pieces which are extremely overheard. For a juror, listening to the same exact piece for the 10th time in the day is quite boring. Instead, choose weird or rare pieces which could strike the attention of the jury and the public. Between something not well known, put also something recognizable to refresh the audience. Remember that until you do the real application, you can always change your mind related to which pieces to perform. So keep a few reserves in case you are not really feeling comfortable with something. For example, always have in your repertoire different Chopin etudes from the one you always perform, and so on. Now it is finally time to talk about how to structure the preparation for the competitions. Depending on the time available before the first competition starts, I would like to suggest planning in advance in order to achieve the best performance for the final date. Try to set up a schedule of a month or more, where you want to hit some critical points with deadlines. For example, plan to finish all the work you need to do in the first round after 2 weeks. Then set the deadline for the second round after other 2 weeks, and so on. Ideally, before the starting date of the first competition, you should have all the repertoire of all competitions ready and safe. For every competition then, you are going to practice more certain pieces. But in general, you have to arrive to that date with the freedom to say you feel comfortable with everything. After you decided the general plan of studies, you can focus on step by planning the week or weeks needed to finish one round. Here, it just depends on your personal timings and the urgency of practicing something before else. Start always with the most difficult piece and in case also with the first piece you are going to perform. On stage, you want to feel safe since beginning, so try to practice many times the first one as it is the most stressful. Plan each week so that you always have one day off. It is extremely important to relax every day and also one time per week by doing outside activities and anything you like in order to distract your mind by lots of tensions. At this stage, set up also smaller deadlines of reading and memorizing phases. Then you want to plan a bit your daily schedule. Write down your ideal practice day with all parts of it written down or so. Of course, you're not going to follow it strictly as many extra things can happen, but impose yourself the plan to stick better to it. Finally, we speak about the importance of performing the repertoire you are preparing for the competition. Try performing every round as many times as possible with any different kind of audience in order to prepare yourself for unknown people around you. Perform as well in front of your friends or parents and think of it as the final performance. If possible, plan your concerts and performances in accordance to the deadlines of learning and studying process of the rounds. You want to avoid performing to someone only part of the competition round, as it will not be similar to reality. Lastly, I advise performing your rounds without warming up every day, after you have them of course ready. For example, if after 1 month you have ready all the repertoire of first and second round, plan a few days where you start your practice by performing one round each time as the first thing. This will help you feel less stressed at the moment you will perform on stage. I have a final general advice to give you. Relax. The most common problems happening on stage come from insecurity and stress. If you work it out so well that you feel safe with how you play and you're not putting too many pressures on yourself in general, you will perform absolutely better. Go to the day of the performance at your highest level, the best mindset possible and with lots of energy. So, get every day enough sleep, work out, have a walk outside in the nature, and be happy even when it's hard for you. Hopefully, I covered all points you need to prepare at best for your next competition. If you need any help, write me a comment or send me a message. If you found this tip useful, Please leave me a like and share it with your piano friends, and I'll see you all in my next tip.